Studnick Aquatics here. I have a fish order that just arrived from saltwaterfish.com, and they are in my quarantine tank here, and I'm floating them now, getting them to temp. Make sure you do shut the light off when you do that. And basically, I'm kind of glad that I did things different this time. A lot of people claim that they live in the middle of nowhere, but I really do. The closest aquarium store, other than a Petco and a PetSmart. I have a Petco and a PetSmart that's about 2.5 hours one way, which is a 5-hour round trip, and I will never buy fish from them again. I've been struggling with them for years. So the closest fish store I have where I can buy saltwater fish, corals, freshwater fish, would be in the Fort Collins, Denver area, which would be a 5 to 5.5 hour trip one way. So it's 10 to 11 hours to go to and get back from a place where I can buy freshwater fish, saltwater fish, or corals or invertebrates or something. So it is in the middle of nowhere. And when I order stuff online, they get sent to Scotts Bluff, and then they get on a truck and then they come to me. I ordered some stuff from the Florida Keys one time, and it took longer for that package to go from Scotts Bluff, Nebraska. I only live 75 miles away from Scotts Bluff. It took longer to go from Scotts Bluff to my house. It took almost twice as long as it did to go from the Florida Keys to Scotts Bluff. That's insane. They put it on a truck. We're the second to the last town on the run. I've never seen a FedEx truck come through here, and I've never had an order come in before 4 o'clock p.m. So this time I went ahead and I had them, I just had it shipped to the FedEx facility in Scotts Bluff. My mother lives in Scotts Bluff. They arrived at 8:30 this morning. She picked them up, and then she hit the road. I hit the road. We met halfway. So I was able to get these floating by 10:30 a.m., which means I knocked 5 to 6 hours off of these fish's trip. And these are going to be for my coral reef, my 150-gallon tall coral reef display tank in my living room. And it's not a lot of fish. I ordered 3 fish. There's one in here, one in here, and one in there. And they will be in this quarantine facility for approximately, well, they'll be here for 60 days. And I'll be treating them with copper and Presipro, and then they will go into the display system. One's going to go in display, and one's going to go in my frag tank. So anyway, I'll add more to this later, but I'm really happy about this. I need to get a drip acclimation set up. They're getting up to temp now. They look good, but knocking 5 to 6 hours off their trip is huge for me. This is a huge win. So I will add more to this later. They are looking very, very good. I just ordered the 3. I have a powder brown tank that will go into my display system eventually, and I have 2 pajama cardinals, and they're going to go into my frag tank. I already have 1 pajama cardinal in there now. And basically what I have, I know this is dark, but I have a suction cup here. This is an acclimation hose that keeps that under the water with no problem. Start a siphon, and then I have this little adjustment on here so I can just get it down to a drip. And I like this little container. It's insulated, it holds heat. And then also it's small enough that when you put the water in there, it covers the fish. If you use a 5-gallon bucket, you have to tilt it. And the water is there now, and then once that water level doubles, which will be at this line, I will pour off half of it, and then I'll probably do that about 3 times, maybe 4. And then I will transport them hopefully by hand using a net. You can catch fins, and I prefer to just put them in my hand and turn them loose in here. I'll keep the light subdued in here for a while until they get used to it, and then eventually I'll kick on the room light in my little fish room here, and then eventually I'll turn on the big light. So I have artificial coral inserts in there by Rock and Reef. They're really nice, and I like having those in my quarantine because they don't affect any of my medications, and they work really well for making the fish feel more at home rather than just having your fish in an empty tank where they're just huddled in a corner. It's stressful. I think there's less stress on them, and they do better in this. So I do have a hang-on protein skimmer there, but I do not have any air going through it. It's just working as a filter. And I have a simple whisper filter back here. It has some floss in it. It has bio beads in it for nitrifying bacteria and so forth. So this system has been set up for a long time. I have another velvet damsel I keep in here at all times to keep the nitrifying bacteria alive. So I am completely good to go. I remove him, put him in another aquarium when it's time to acclimate some new fish. I moved the new fish into this tank, and it already has all the nitrifying bacteria it has. If I didn't keep a fish in my quarantine, my nitrifying bacteria would die because there's no fish waste. So we will add more to this later. Acclimation went very well. Everybody is doing very good. And there is the powder brown tang. Looking good. Looks perfect. And then I have 2 of the pajama cardinals in there. Get this thing to focus in. Doesn't want to focus in on that one. So anyway, that's what I have. There are 2 pajama cardinals and 1 powder brown tang. They are in quarantine. I have a medium dose of copper and a full dose of Prazipro in there, and the Prazipro should be done in 7-8 days. But I'll leave these things in quarantine for probably 60 days because I do not want to take a chance of introducing marine velvet or anything into my display tank. So everything went well. This is Studnick Aquatics, and thanks for watching.